It's time for all the news you need and more. Brookland is Live starts right now.
And a good day to all of you. I'm Jackson Mitchell. It is Monday, February 2nd, 2026. Good with you. Time now, 2 p.m. right here in Brooklyn, 3 p.m. on the East Coast, and 12 p.m. on the West. We have a lot of news we are going to get to. We do want to start first with what we are learning is really just the continuously developing details. The mother of NBC News' Today anchor, Savannah Guthrie, has been reported missing. Nancy Guthrie is her name. Police warning there kind of may be some foul play in action here. We've been continuing to follow the updates as they have come in. I want to show you this is what she looks like. There is her, Savannah there, Guthrie on the left side, and then her mother there on the right side. So again, she has been reported missing. We want to play a video for you here. This is authorities. This is all in Arizona. It's near Tucson, Arizona. Authorities there speaking on her missing, warning that crime might be involved. Take a look.
We believe now, after we process that crime scene, that we do in fact have a crime scene, that we do in fact have a crime, and we're asking the community's help. This community has always stepped up to help us solve some pretty tough crimes. I'm looking for that again. This is a 84-year-old lady who suffers from some physical ailments, has some physical challenges, is in need of medication that if she doesn't have in 24 hours, it could be fatal. So we make a plea to anyone who knows anything about this, who has seen something, heard something, to contact us. Call 911. We don't need another bad tragic ending. We need some help.
Can you elaborate at all on what makes you believe it's a crime scene as opposed to someone who left home and just couldn't find their way back?
Well, I think I told you she is very limited in her mobility, right? We know she didn't just walk out of there. That we know. There are other things at the scene that indicate there was she did not leave on her own. We know that.
Alrighty, so you hear officials there just describing that she does have some physical elements that may make it harder, challenge her to do this. Officials saying if you do have any information on Nancy Guthrie's missing, any information that could lead to her being found, to call the Pima County Sheriff's Department. Now, again, this is in Arizona. You saw there that was in Tucson, Arizona, where the sheriff there, Sheriff Nanos, was giving an update. You are urged to call 520-351 4900. Again, that is 520-351-4900. That's if you have any information that could lead to the finding of Nancy Guthrie. That is simply any information. You heard him even there urging people to just simply call 911. We are going to follow these updates. If we get any more, we will bring those to you. We do want to turn to some more news on the national level, taking you right now live out to Capitol Hill, where the House is in, well, actually, they're recessing. If we take you to a live feed there at the House, they're in recess. Expected to come back up at about 4 o'clock p.m. So 3 p.m. here, right as we get off the air. We are now in a partial government shutdown, and the reason we're all talking about this is because now Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, the Republican from Louisiana, warning this could all come to an end by Tuesday. In an interview with Fox News, on their Sunday show. I want to play that on for you. It's him not only talking about kind of the process that comes along with a government shutdown, but how it simply just takes time to reopen the government. This is Speaker Johnson in a Fox News interview on Sunday.
For the House, Mike Johnson, good to have you here. I know you didn't want a partial shutdown for your birthday, but that's where we are. Are you talking with Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries?
I am, and let me explain quickly what Chad just explained there, a little more detail. So after the 43-day shutdown last fall, the Democrats hoisted upon America the longest in history. We tip our hat to all the appropriators in both parties. They got together. They were insistent to get all the appropriations bills done. There's supposed to be 12 every year. We did that. And because of their hard work, bipartisan, bicameral, we got that through the process. And now the Senate and House have approved 11 of the 12 funding bills. Now, they modified it because they broke out the Department a home last package, which sends it back to us. It has to be reevaluated. I'm interested in what Hakeem Jeffries said there. He and I have been talking. He said they'll evaluate the bills on their merits. That's great, because the 5 bills coming back to us are exactly the same as they were when we passed it just a couple weeks ago. So the Homeland Security bill will be separated. 2 weeks of intense negotiations to try to figure this out. But what Brandon Gill said there, my House colleague, Republican, is right. We have to allow ICE to do its job. We have to allow Border Patrol to do its job, and we're going to make sure they have the funding to do that.
Well, first of all, you've got to get through the House passing this 2-week patch that comes back over from the Senate. Now, you have a couple of ways of doing that without getting too wonky. There's one slightly quicker way that would require a 2/3 vote, but that obviously is going to require Democrat votes. It doesn't sound like they're there. But if you go the longer route with the rule, you can do it with a majority vote, but you got a really tight margin there. And some of your members on the Republican side are saying, we don't want to vote for this. So how do you close down both flanks?
We'll have a lot of conversations to have with individual Republican members over the next 24 hours or so. We'll get all this done by Tuesday, I'm convinced. We do have to do it we have a rule process, which will be probably on our own. I don't understand why anybody would have a problem with this, though. Remember, the bills that have already been passed, we're going to do it again. It's a formality at this point. The Homeland Security bill is important, and we have important negotiations. The president is leading this. It's his play call to do.
Speaker Johnson, they were saying it's President Trump's play call, but saying, due to just kind of how things work in the logistical and legal way of how to pass bills inside the House of Representatives, it will be Tuesday by the time the government reopens. The question is, what is this all going to affect? This all began on Saturday, and now we're learning this is all due to a disagreement over the Department of Homeland Security funding, which again DHS does fund to ICE. That's kind of where all of this comes from. The shutdown, which it is going to be brief, at least according to Speaker Johnson there. It affects the Pentagon, DHS, and the Transportation Department, potentially impacting air travel and FEMA operations. However, essential services like the Social Security Department, Medicare, SNAP benefits, that's going to remain unaffected. So that's good news for those that suffered through some of that when we had the longest government shutdown ever occurred just a few months back last year. Now we're to the point now we've entered a partial government shutdown. They're going to pass some more bills that were the same that they already passed, and then they are going to have a 2-week period of debating this DHS bill. And essentially they had to repass these bills because they took out DHS funding out of the other appropriations bills to fund the government. So that is the update there on where the government shutdown stands right now. We do have a critical update to bring you also on Don Lemon. He's the ex-CNN anchor turned independent journalist who was arrested after his coverage of a protest that broke out at a city's church in St. Paul, Minnesota, just outside of Minneapolis, the Twin Cities, that's what they call it. He's now been released without bond. He's speaking out. I want to play some video from him speaking out after court. This is him this is going to be Friday. Last Friday is when we brought you that news. Once we got off the air, about 5 p.m., I think, 6 p.m., he spoke outside of the courtroom in Los Angeles. Take a look.
So look, I want to thank everybody for their support. It truly means the world to me. I have no idea what's going on because obviously I haven't seen anything. I've spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now. In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for freedom that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. I will not stop now. I will not stop ever. Last night, the DOJ sent a team to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silenced. I look forward to my day in court. Thank you all.
Don Lemon there, speaking out there outside of the courtroom. This is him. You'll see just a montage of protesters that were behind him there. Not even protesters, really just advocates for the First Amendment. You'll see him, his husband Tim there, walking now to their cars. They, again, just a moment that has just become so there's so many arguments for Lemon, I think, more than there is in the government's case. I think, first of all, the First Amendment is an extremely hard thing to argue, and that's exactly what they are about to do. Again, released without bond, charged with First Amendment and the FACE Act, which is essentially saying he interrupted people trying to express their freedom of religion. Though in the video he says clearly that he's not a protester, he's just a journalist covering the event, and in no moment in that video that I watched was he ever protesting with them, with the protesters. The protesters were protesting because they believed that the pastor was an ICE agent. So we're going to continue to follow every angle of this. We've got some more news coming into us. Within the last few moments, we are learning that the Arkansas National Guard has delivered water to Newport, Arkansas, after a small amount of residents in Newport, nearly 40 people, have been without water for a week. According to this article I'm reading, Mayor Derek Ratcliffe told Kate News, which is the local news station, this is all again just coming in, that there's tenants of the Newport Housing Authority that have been without water since January 23rd, guys. It's February 2nd, so devastating for those. They said, quote, they don't know what the problem is. Quote, the plumbing company is digging, trying to find an issue. So water still not restored there. But the Arkansas National Guard, some good news for those people there in that community of Newport, that they are now going to be receiving some water. When we come back, millions of Epstein files released, expected to be the final release of all of it. We're breaking it down for you. What was in those? We're talking about it. Stick with us. We're back here in just a few moments. Okay, welcome back here on the Brooklyn News Live. The thing about being live is we're getting news as the moment it all comes in. I'm still with you here, but I'm just reading some news coming in. This is from NBC News. They are reporting that Ed Martin, he has been serving as a longtime, first of all, just a Trump loyalist. Not only that, but the interim U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia. Um, he's now out of his role as leader of the Justice Department's weaponization effort that was investigating prosecutors who who had brought cases against Trump and his allies. This is again sources telling NBC News this. I want to keep reading this. It says Martin has been serving as interim U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia, but the longtime right-wing activist faced opposition from Senator Tom Tillis, a key member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Instead, Trump made Martin the pardon attorney and the director of the weaponization working group. According to this article, they say President Trump appointed Ed Martin as pardon attorney, and Ed continues to do a great job in that role. That's according to a spokesperson over at the White House, I believe. So we're following this new developments again, just coming in to us right this moment. If you guys will hold with me, this is just coming in. I guess Ed Martin now out at his role as the leading the weaponization effort over at the DOJ. Excuse me here, we're just getting in some news from the Senate floor. The Republican leader, John Thune, he is speaking right now on the Senate floor, and this is what it looks like, guys. I know we're live, but we are preparing things for you as we're on the air, so that it kind of takes just a second. I want to take you right now live out to the Senate floor where you were watching there live. The majority leader John Thune speaking amid a partial government shutdown. Let's listen in for just a moment.
Always be available for operations. Funding the military through the yearly defense appropriations bill instead of through CRs is essential, and I'm very pleased that we passed the full year bill on Friday. Before I close, I want to extend my gratitude to Appropriations Committee Chair Collins and Vice Chair Murray and all the members of the Senate Appropriations Committee for their tireless work this year. Appropriations work is demanding, and I appreciate all they have done to make it possible for us to pass 11 of the 12 fiscal year 2026 bills. Now, Mr. President, on that 12th bill, we had a bipartisan agreement on the Homeland Security Appropriations Bill that included funding for de-escalation training for Immigration and Customs Enforcement, as well as both body cams for ICE officers. Nevertheless, Republicans agreed to Democrats' request for additional time to allow for additional consideration of this bill before final passage. But any conversation, Mr. President, has to include a discussion of how to make it safer for our federal law enforcement agents to effectively carry out their duties. We need to address not only issues like increased training for ICE officers, but things like preventing the constant harassment and worse that officers have faced for simply trying to do their jobs. The President's border czar, Tom Homan, recently traveled to Minneapolis at the President's request, and his efforts have gone a long way to restoring order in that city and ensuring that immigration operations can be carried out safely. One thing he's trying to accomplish is increased cooperation between local law enforcement and ICE. That's another thing, Mr. President, that Democrats should be willing to address in the coming days. It's notable how much more peaceful things have been in cities where local law enforcement has been authorized to cooperate with ICE. It's time to bring an end to the dangerous practice of local jurisdictions refusing to cooperate with federal law enforcement. So I hope there will be a set of issues, like those that Senate Democrats and the administration, I should say, can find consensus around. But one thing is clear. If Democrats' goal is simply to make it harder to detain and deport dangerous illegal aliens, then they will find no interest on this side of the aisle. I hope that is not the case, because the stakes are high. Republicans provided for ICE enforcement and the working families tax cuts. But the Homeland Security bill funds a number of other critical agencies, including the TSA, the Coast Guard, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency, agencies that we cannot leave behind. We need to give these agencies the security of a full-year funding bill without delay. Mr. President, I once again thank Senate appropriators for helping us to get to this point, and I look forward to finishing our 2026 appropriations work in the coming days. Mr. President, I yield the floor, and I suggest the absence of a quorum.
Clerk will call the roll. Ms. Brooks.
Alrighty, you were just watching their Senate Majority Leader John Thune speak there. We saw that coming into us from one of our cameras that we are watching at all times, and we wanted to bring you that live here on Brooklyn News Live. Doing a turn right now to the last, is what the DOJ is saying, of the trove of documents released in relation to Jeffrey Epstein. Millions of documents, thousands of videos released in relation, of course, to the Epstein investigations, and we're continuing to follow that now. I want to play a piece of an ABC News report that kind of tells you what was all noted about all of this, if I can find it. It looks like I got it. Okay. Let's roll the video.
Including this stunning, never-before-seen prosecution memo and draft indictment written nearly 2 decades ago. Prosecutors in Florida detailing the disturbing evidence they gathered against the financier, calling him a continued danger to the community based upon his continued enticement of underage.
So this was the case. I'm just going to pause it here and kind of give you some analysis. This was that case back, I believe, in 2016, I believe is what she's fixing to say, that was, he got that smaller plea deal and still ran free.
Girls. But that 60-count indictment never filed. Instead, Epstein landing the now infamous deal allowing him to plead guilty to lesser state prostitution charges, for which he served just 13 months in a Florida jail. Upon his release, Epstein free to enjoy a jet-setting lifestyle and access to the rich and famous until his 2019 arrest. These messages from 2013 show Epstein connecting New York Giants co-owner Steve Tisch with various women. In one exchange, Tisch asked about a woman only identified as M, writing, "Curious to know about M, pro or civilian." In another, Epstein informed Tisch about a microbiology student in Florida who he said was interested in meeting, advising Tisch to, quote, "make it clear that you will organize her ticket." In a statement, Tisch acknowledging a, quote, "brief association where we exchanged emails about adult women, but did not take him up on any of his invitations and never went to his island. As we all know now, he was a terrible person and someone I deeply regret associating with." Known Epstein associates like the former Prince Andrew, who was stripped of his royal titles last year over his relationship with Epstein, back in the spotlight as well, with the release of these photos showing him crouched over a young woman. The date and context of the interaction unclear. Representatives for Andrew have not responded to a request for comment. Also in the documents, numerous unverified tips and
Okay, I'll pause it here because we are also learning that Prince Andrew, well, not Prince Andrew now, but just Andrew, he has some Congress people calling him to testify in front of one of the committees.
Substantiated allegations against powerful figures in politics, finance, and entertainment, including President Trump, claims the Department of Justice says are unfounded and false.
Alrighty, so that's just a piece of that ABC News report. Some mention of Trump, but nothing, I think. First of all, I'll note this. I think people are looking for some bombshell about President Trump within these Epstein files, and there has yet to be that exact bombshell. And the Department of Justice now says this is the last of the release of files. Now we're seeing some of the victims that were mentioned within these files say my name should have been redacted, and it wasn't. The Department of Justice has set up kind of somewhere where victims can go and communicate with the DOJ and say my name was not redacted like it should have been. So that is the update that we are getting right now on the release of the Epstein files. We are going to take another quick break right here on Brooklyn News Live. When we come back, a look at some local headlines. That's here coming up in just a few moments. I never like to keep you guys in the breaks too long. I know they can get a little bit boring. It's the loop of the same videos rolling over and over. Want to turn to some local news, as we said we were going to do exactly that. A man, he formerly lived in Brooklyn, not sure if he still does, has been arrested for an alleged break-in of a closed gas station. We're learning, according to the probable cause affidavit, David, 21-year-old John Michael Jenkins, was located by officers 1 mile east of 2920 East Highland Drive, which is an Exxon fuel station. After the owners and the managers there, alleged that Jenkins broke into the business, a closed business. Police found him with a Red Bull can and a 5-hour energy bottle. Camera footage reveals, according to the affidavit, that he did take items. Officers responded to the scene and were told by businesses, we're told by the business rather, that it was closed at the time and is not a 24-hour store. The affidavit states while officers were en route, they were notified that security camera had observed a man inside the building. Jenkins is charged with commercial burglary, which is a Class C felony. The charges carry a possible penalty of up to 10 years in prison and a fine of up to $10,000. You take a look at a photo of his mugshot there. A judge found probable cause for the arrest and set the bail at $250,095. So that's some news we're getting in there. Plus, we're getting some more news as well right here in Brooklyn. You might like it, you might not. Brooklyn city officials providing an update on the new police station they are building. A lot of people have been waiting for this one. At least the police department has. They've been telling us they've been saying for weeks now they're out of room for evidence. Take a look at video showing the progress on the build. We're learning, according to city officials, again, this is the city engineer providing this update, Mike Bishop. Bishop said crews were nearly finished with the exterior work. Quote, they are 90% complete on the outside of the building. The new station, located on West School Street near the Witten Creek apartment. Remaining exterior tasks includes drainage connections and small additions still being installed. Bishop said workers are, quote, connecting the downspouts to the underground drains and adding, quote, a small canopy on the south outside door. A lot of kind of technical words that he used in our conversation that we had, or it really was an email statement. He noted that the electricians are still in progress of running the home runs into the electrical panel. The transfer switch is wired, complete for the emergency generator, giving us just really just a complete update. Bishop said some key systems still need to be completed before the building is ready for use, but says they're about ready for work to begin on the electrical systems and on the inside of the building. The project timeline remains dependent on weather, according to Bishop. Quote, the building will be complete sometime in March, depending on the weather there. So, city officials there providing an update, as you have seen the video now, on the police station that is being built. It looks nice, at least from the outside. We'll have to see what the inside brings to us. Originally, if you remember back it was over a year ago, I think, city council members had brought an idea of a new municipal/police station. The budget bids didn't line up. So ultimately, the police station was in more of a demand than the municipal center was. So there you go. Now you see the video. They are going to be building a new police station. A quick break. Brooklyn News Live comes back. The Grammys. Many taking their time to make remarks about ice. So we're also talking about the winners, though. That's when we come back here in just a few moments. Welcome back here live into Brooklyn News Live. We're recapping the Grammys right here on Brooklyn News Live. Let's pull up the video because take a look. This is some of those winners there. Maybe if we can get it to pull up on your screen, some of those winners of the 2026 Grammys. You're going to notice a lot. So you got a Record of the Year, Kendrick Lamar, SZA winning down with their iconic song, Luther, Bad Bunny, the first fully Spanish song and album to win Album of the Year. Song of the Year, Wildflower by Billie Eilish. When it comes to Best New Artist, Olivia Dean takes that home. Producer of the Year, Circuit. And Songwriter of the Year, Amy Allen. The Best Pop Duo/Group Performance, I can hear it in my head already, Defying Gravity, of course, by Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. Best Dance Electronic Recording, End of the Summer. The Best Rock Song, As Alive as You Need to Be by 9 Inch Nails. The Best Latin Album goes to Bad Bunny once again there. Best Global Music Album, gonna go to Zeleno Velsko and Mario, and I can't pronounce that last name there. When it comes to the best R&B song, Folded by Kalani and Darius Dixon. Best rap album, GNX by, I believe that might be an N there, excuse me, by Kendrick Lamar. The best country duo group performance, Amen by Shabuzi and Jelly Roll. The best musical theater album, you see it there, Buena Vista Social Club, the original Broadway cast. And best Americana album, Big Money by John Basil. Let me take out this little piece here so we can read the last few there. The best jazz vocal album, Portrait by Samar Joy. And the best classical album, Hortense Yanga. There we go. That's a look at A few of those people that took home Grammys last night. Such an honor when you're a musical artist to do that. But a lot of people, while they were on stage, took a few moments to mention ICE and their operations. This is just a few of them. Take a look.
Eyes out. We're not savage, we're not animals, we're not humans, and we are Americans. Also, I want to say to the people, I know it's tough to know, not to hate on these days, thinking sometime we get contaminados. I don't know how to say that in English. The hate get more powerful with more hate. The only thing that is more powerful than hate is love. So, please, we need to be, if we fight, we have to do it with love. We don't hate them. We love our people, we love our family, and that's the way to do it, with love. Don't forget that, please. Thank you.
This country, literally, actually, so this is for them, all children of immigrants. This is also for those who came to this country in search of better opportunity to be a part of a nation that promised freedom for all and equal opportunity to everyone willing to work for it. Thank you for bringing your culture, your music, your stories, and your traditions here. You give America color. I love y'all so much. Thank you.
I guess I want to say I'm up here as a granddaughter of an immigrant. I wouldn't be here. I'm a product of bravery, and I think those people deserve to be celebrated. So yeah, we're nothing without each other. Thank you so much. I love you. Thank you so much. Bye.
What I want to make sure that I say is that everybody is so powerful in this room and in this room later. And together we're stronger in numbers to speak against all the injustice going on in the world right now. Yeah. So instead of letting it be just a couple few here and there, I hope everybody's inspired to join together as a community of artists and speak out against what's going on. And I'm gonna leave this and say, fuck ICE.
They weren't able to bleep that one, that's for sure. Kalani, there you see Olivia Dean. Before that, Jabouzi and Bad Bunny, all just talking about ICE and immigration enforcement and operations that have been going on across the country. Want to turn to some other news this hour. Trump announcing a 2-year closure of the Kennedy Center on a post, and the Trump Kennedy Center, I should take it, the new name of it. Trump on Truth Social saying, quote, after a 1-year review of the Trump Kennedy Center that has taken place with contractors, musical experts, art institutions, and other advisors and consultants deciding between either construction with closure to reopening or partial construction while continuing entertainment operations through a much longer period of time. Working in and around the performance, I've determined the Trump Kennedy Center is temporarily closed for construction. Revitalization and complete rebuilding can be, without question, the finest performing arts facility of its kind anywhere in the world. In other words, if we don't close, the quality of of construction will not be nearly as good, and the time to completion because of interruptions with audiences from many events using the facility will be much longer. The temporary closure will produce a much faster and higher quality result. That's just a few paragraphs of the Truth Social Post. It was much longer. Again, Trump there announcing a 2-year closure of the Trump Kennedy Center there. So that's surely something we will continue to follow. Of course, after the renaming of it all, a lot of performers have decided they will cancel their performances there. Want to turn right now, though, to look at that forecast. It is above freezing right now. That's a good thing as the snow and ice continuing to melt. Schools releasing now for, what is it, the 6th day, 5 days last week, 1 day this week. No word on Tuesday just yet as we approach about 3 p.m. here, possibly still making that decision. We'll follow it and bring an update if we get it here in the next few moments or so. And tonight, though, we're going to remain above freezing, meaning that snow and ice could continue to melt after those, in those kind of county roads, as I like to call them, those roads that aren't as heavily traveled. Most roads clear at this time. Cloudy skies remain throughout today. As we go into Tuesday, showers possible, a high of 50 and a low of 28. That's surely going to be good for some melting rain and a high of 50. But as you go into the overnight lows on Tuesday, you're looking at delve back into below freezing temperatures at about 28 degrees. By Wednesday, we're looking at a high of 38 and a low of 23. Partly cloudy skies. A lot to follow there when it comes to the forecast. That is one thing for sure. Okay, if you're watching us right here on Brooklyn News Live, I know we like to stay until 3 p.m. We're going to wrap up early today, unfortunately. Be sure, though, that you can join us every weekday, 2 p.m. We'll be right back here tomorrow. Hopefully, maybe, likely. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how the schedule pans out for myself. At 2 p.m., though, catch us every weekday at 2 p.m. We try to do it every weekday. We'll see. We'll bring you the news, weather, more, everything you need to know. I mean, Brooklyn News' motto is all the news you need and more for a reason. That is going to complete our coverage on this Monday morning. Hope you all have a great rest of your evening. Take a break. Don't watch the news for once. If you're like me, sometimes that's very necessary to take a break, step away from the news. A lot of people got to do it. You got to take a break, read a book, watch Heated Rivalry. I don't know. Find something interesting to do, guys. That does it for us, though. Thank you all of you for watching throughout the last little bit. Hope you all have a great rest of your day.